the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps. The presidency says the idea is to boost police presence in communities, especially in remote areas where many stations currently operate with very few officers. President Tinubu is also pushing wider police reforms, approving the recruitment of 30,000 new officers and working with states to upgrade training facilities. Sunday's meeting had the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Waidi Shaibu, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sunday Kelvin Anike, the Inspector General of Police Kayode Wetoku, and the Director General of the DSS, Tosin Adiola Ajayi, in attendance. Meanwhile, Kwara State Governor Abdurrahman Abdurazak has praised President Tinubu for the release of the 38 persons abducted from a church in his state. The governor linked their release to what he describes as President Bola Tinubu's hands-on involvement, saying the president personally directed effort to rescue the victims. He noted that the abductees were freed on Sunday after days of work by security agencies and government representatives. Still talking abductions, 50 of the more than 300 children abducted from St. Mary's Catholic Primary and Secondary Schools in Papiri, Niger State, have escaped from their captors. The Christian Association of Nigeria says the children fled between Friday and Saturday and have since reunited with their parents. CAN also gave fresh figures after a verification exercise confirming that 303 students and 12 teachers were taken during the attack. The association says earlier reports were revised after it discovered that 88 students previously thought to have escaped were actually recaptured by the attackers. CAN is calling for calm and asking Nigerians to continue praying for the safe return of the remaining abductees. Meanwhile, it denies claims that the school received any prior warning to shut down its boarding facilities before the attack, as earlier alleged by the Niger State government. But we're not done with kidnapped victims. This time, let's inform you that the police in Borno State say they have rescued one girl and are intensifying effort to free 13 others abducted by suspected Boko Haram and ISWAP fighters in Askira, Uba. The command explains that the girls were seized from a farmland in Musa district, prompting a joint operation involving police, the military, civilian, JTF, and vigilantes. According to the police, one of the girls escaped unharmed during the operation, while search and rescue efforts continue for the remaining victims. The Commissioner of Police is urging residents to stay vigilant, cooperate with security agencies, and follow safety guidance as the operation progresses. And the Nigerian military says it is reviewing claims that soldiers were withdrawn from a KB secondary school shortly before bandits attacked and abducted 25 schoolgirls. The defense headquarters explains that a thorough assessment is underway to determine what happened, noting that troop deployment decisions are normally based on intelligence and the broader security picture. It adds that if the review uncovers any lapses, the armed forces would take immediate corrective action. The military also condemned the KB and Niger school abduction and says troops are pursuing actionable intelligence to rescue the students and arrest the attackers. Last week, 25 students were abducted from Government Girls Comprehensive Secondary School, Maga, KB State. Meanwhile, a security expert, retired Commodore Promise Tapa, has linked the recent abductions in Niger and Kebbi, including the kidnapping of worshippers in Kwara, to poor surveillance nationwide. Speaking on the rise in insecurity, he says government must start investing properly in CCTV across major cities.
You cannot have an adequate security without surveillance. And what is surveillance is capacity for you to see. That's why like this product, anybody can come anywhere, can pick up anybody and walk away. But if the whole state is wired, even if you are not there, when somebody picks something or picks anybody, you can able to trace him to a certain extent. But in the absence of any form of surveillance, everybody is blind. So the country is blind. Nobody is watching over this country. Go to all those Europe, everywhere that is secure, there is a watch over the city.
Commodore Daba also supports President Trump's position on the situation in Nigeria, but warns that any extra military or financial assistance from the U.S. could be mismanaged by Nigerian officials.
Nigeria have been supported severally by countries. But when you give them support, how do you manage the support? They will tell you to stay away, stay by the side, give us money, give us equipment. At the end of the day, you now appoint your brother, appoint your friend to go and manage those things. They do whatever they like, and at the end, you are not querying anybody when things go wrong. You are not asking any question. Then the things continue. And the people that are saying they should give you help, they are watching. If not between the time, like you said, the Trump made an announcement and now, how many attacks have happened? How have they responded to those attacks?
In a related story, a public affairs analyst, Kennedy Allen Wokama, also believes politics is at play. Speaking with our correspondent, he claims that current insecurity is being orchestrated by political actors positioning themselves ahead of the 2027 elections.
This whole thing has been connected to 2027 elections. It may well be that some group of persons may not be very comfortable with Tinubu's administration, and so they are now reaching out to their criminal franchise to heat up the to gain political capital. It could also be that some persons from certain sections are playing up this card to exploit the weakness in ourselves, use their various franchises to create a tense situation, and then later use that as a bargaining chip.
Wokama also weighed in on one of last week's biggest news stories, the sentencing of IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu. He says President Tinubu may try to use Kanu's case to win votes in the southeast.
Perhaps early 2026 or late 2026 or early 2027, the president will grant an amnesty to Kanu, and that will now endear him to the Igbos, who had always been very suspicious of the tribe he comes from. So it's something that nobody would just think that with the state of insecurity in the country, the government will just go ahead and ask them to give judgment when we are still trying to manage the security situation, if there is nothing to gain out of it.
Still to come, leader in Obakere community set to help students' education in community. We have details of these and other stories in a bit. Stay with us. You're welcome back, and now the rest of the news. Let's go to Eleme, where another high-prep water tank has collapsed, this time in Ebubu community. It comes barely 2 weeks after a similar tank crashed in Gwara community after being commissioned. Pictures seen by our correspondent show flooding around the area. High-prep says it has opened an investigation as questions continue to grow over the contractor's competence and the quality of the project. And now the Ichi local government council says it now has 2 brand new grader machines to help open up feeder roads across the area. Council Chairman Chima Boniface Njoko made the disclosure at the flag-off of the Mbaklan reconnection to the national grid. He says once the dry season sets in, the graders will hit the road to make sure communities can move around easily. Now, according to him, each grader will be assigned to one of the 2 constituencies in Ichi.
The Ichi local government, to the glory of God, have purchased new brand grader for Ichi people to grade all the feeder roads in the Ichi local government. All of us will see it during my 100 days in office. I didn't buy one, I bought 2. So that during the short dry season, they will be doing it. Woto. I have taken records of all the feeder roads that need immediate attention. And when they are myself.
Njoko also says the council is working with the state government to address issues affecting primary schools and health centers. He adds that the state government is already taking steps to complete the abandoned HA General Hospital in Okehi.
As a local government, I must use all my contacts. Thank God we have a listening governor. I've gotten the photograph of all the primary schools to present before His Excellency. And I have also told him that Ichi local government, they don't have a single hospital. I told him also that in Shkonta 8, we have a existing hospital that is almost 80% conclusion. Come and help us. And the kind man told me, consider it done.
Well, away from that, the newly inaugurated chairman of the Association of Town Planning Consultants of Nigeria, River State Branch, Dr. Edmond Nwokeze, is urging the state government to review the planning law and strengthen its institutional framework. Dr. Nwokeze made the call after the inauguration of the association's executive in Port Harcourt and reminded town planners of their role in improving quality of life and ensuring sustainable growth.
A call to action, a reminder of the critical role we play in designing and implementing spatial frameworks, regulations, and schemes that address the pressing challenges of rapid urbanization, environmental degradation in our state. I therefore call on the Rivers State government to give urban and regional planning its rightful place by strengthening institutional frameworks, increasing funding, and renewing planning laws to meet current realities.
The national president of ATOPCON, Hakeem Badejo, encouraged the new executive to promote professional discipline, ensure quality assurance, integrate all members, and create an environment where consultants can thrive.
The Rivers State branch must create an environment where none of your members compromise standards. ATOPCON must ensure flawless professionalism. ATOPCON mandates includes promoting ethical consultancy, professional development, and advocacy for quality standards in planning practice, with a view to improve quality of life. ATOPCON and NITP in Rivers State should synergize.
Earlier, the chairman of the planning committee, Emmanuel Ifechukwu, said the inauguration of ATOPCON's first executive in River State represents a commitment to excellence and sustainable urban development.
Our role in shaping orderly, resilient, and livable communities cannot be overemphasized. This gathering reaffirms our dedication to strengthening professional collaboration, enhancing practice standards, and contributing meaningful to the development agenda of River State and Nigeria at large.
Our correspondent reports that the ceremony was attended by several professionals, including the Permanent Secretary of the Rivers State Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development, Ifechukwu, and the Chairman of the Nigeria Institute of Town Planners, Rivers State Chapter, Dr. Simepiri Jombu. Also in attendance were the Chairman of Atopcon from Abia, Lagos, Edo, and Ebonyi State, as well as a representative from Delta State. Similarly, in Rivers State, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development, Ifechukwu, says the state is working on a new Port Harcourt master plan as part of effort to manage flooding. She also spoke about other measures the ministry is putting in place to tackle flooding across the city.
Recently, we constituted the compliance team. We have also charged them to go and bring the developers so that we can look at what they want to do, give them expertise advice, and give them the needed approvals and permits. And then when they go back to the site to develop, they need to abide by the approved plans, because if you don't do that, you distort the plan of the city and you create problems like flooding, insecurity. Again, communities are developing, need them to come so that we can plan their communities for them.
Now, if you are a student preparing for the NECO exam from any of the Obakere communities in Emoha local government area, pay attention to this next story. Help is on the way to ease the cost of your education. A political leader from Obakere, Goodluck George Ndala, is sponsoring 120 students from the 6 communities to write the 2025/2026 NECO examination. Interested candidates are advised to obtain registration forms from their respective Royal Highnesses. Ndala had earlier sponsored another 120 students to sit for the 2025 JAMB examination, continuing his commitment to supporting young people in the area. He is now offering 2-year university scholarships to the best 3 scorers from each community in the recent JAMB exam, a reward aimed at encouraging excellence and expanding access to higher education. Now, speaking with journalists, Ndala explains what motivated him to focus on education and community development.
Over the years, I have devoted my passion to education and community development, paying school fees for tertiary students, funding WAEC and NECO registration for secondary school students, and covering hospital bills for the sick. The major thing that motivated me to embark on this initiative was the high level unpatriotism and lack of social responsibility by most political leaders in our country.
Now, he says he hopes to close the leadership gap by supporting education and building up his community. And now the Society of Petroleum Engineers is celebrating Rivers-born engineer Ricky Brown Owunari for what it calls a major breakthrough in global engineering content. The group says Owunari's Dewaxer Flow Enhancer and Downhole tool has now been officially recognized under a U.S. patent, a development it believes highlights River State's growing reputation for innovation. Now, industry experts explain that the technology is designed to tackle wax buildup in crude oil wells, a problem that often slows production and drives up maintenance costs. And note that the invention comes from years of field work and research. Stakeholders at the event say the achievement reflects a new era in the Niger Delta, where homegrown innovators are producing world-class technical solutions, and they are urging the federal government to give stronger support and recognition to such effort. They also warn against piracy and call for closer collaboration between government and the industry to protect intellectual property and grow Rivers State into a major hub for innovation. Now to more updates on last week's conviction of IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu. A former lead counsel to Kanu, Ifeanyi Ejiofor, says the IPOB leader's conviction happened because of what he calls amateur legal showmanship and social media theatrics by those who later took over the case. He claims their actions pushed the trial into a judicial ambush. Meanwhile, another legal practitioner, Ndamzi Ikulo, says the judgment delivered by Justice Omotosho reflect what he calls judicial balancing. He spoke with our correspondent, Emma Kotoka.
the prosecution is able to prove beyond reasonable doubt that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu actually committed the offences as stated in Section 4, Section 5, Section 26 and 33 of the Terrorism Prevention Act of 2011, which criminalizes participation in acts of terrorism. But in the instant case, the judge was lenient to convert it to life imprisonment. That reflects judicial balancing. This can be seen in the case of Tanko against the state, 2009, 4 Nigerian Weekly Law Report.
Similarly, the Igbo Youth Leaders and Stakeholders Assembly says it welcomes the judgment that handed Kanu life imprisonment. Its leader, Chukwuma Okpalaezechukwu, Chukwuma Okpalaezechukwu, says the ruling could open the door for new development.
It is a welcome development because after a long time, the federal government, especially the judiciary, has heeded to the yearnings of our people on the injustice meted on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu for being in a waiting trial for years without justice. Today, there is judgment on that matter. However that judgment sounds, it can be appealed.
He adds that the years Kanu spent in detention without trial caused a serious mental strain for people of the Southeast, but now believe the judgment gives President Tinubu an opportunity to grant a pardon.
And now, we'll bring you news from around the world.
US and Ukrainian negotiators say they have agreed on an updated peace framework and will continue intensive work on a US-backed plan in the coming days. After talks in Geneva, both sides described the discussions as highly productive, with Secretary of State Marco Rubio reporting significant progress in narrowing outstanding issues. Rubio adds that any final deal would still need approval from President Trump and Zelensky before it is presented to Russia. The meeting's positive tone comes as President Trump criticizes Ukraine's leadership for what he calls a lack of gratitude and points out that Europe continues to buy Russian oil. And now in sports, Eberechi Eze scored a hat-trick, the first league hat-trick since 1978, as Arsenal increased their lead in the Premier League with a 4-1 thrashing of North London rivals Tottenham Hotspurs. Now Leandro Trossard scored the opener before Eze made it 2 in the first half and scored 2 more in the second half. In Spain, Real Madrid scored a late equalizer as they forced home side Elche to a 2-2 draw. The Sports Gang will be here from 7:05 a.m. to bring you more details on Sports Drive. Well, that's the news this hour. Before we go, let's have a look at the major stories. We're reported that all 38 worshippers kidnapped in Kwara State have been rescued. I told you that President Tinubu has ordered withdrawal of policemen from VIP duties across the country. We also heard the Christian Association of Nigeria give updated figures on the school kidnap in Niger State, as at least 50 students have escaped. We also reported that police has rescued 1 as terrorists abduct 13 girls in Borno State. The news was edited by Ufoma Ebamono. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808-721-7215. I'm Ifechukwu Muonyili. Many thanks for listening.